Welcome to ARC's Top 5 Sega Mega Drive and Genesis racing games. Stick around till the end of the video for the community poll results. There's some interesting stuff in there. Lotus 2 Rex is a port of Lotus 3 on the Amiga, despite the confusing name. And as a slightly compromised port, it seems to get lost in the shuffle of races on the Mega Drive and Genesis, which is a shame because it is a really brilliant racer. Time Trial sees you racing the clock in a championship mode with drone races. Race mode puts you up against a field of 20 racers and you'll have to manage pit stops to refuel on top of dealing with the races themselves. Equally interesting is the Rex mode, a track builder of sorts that works by defining certain parameters rather than being a fully fledged track builder. It is a great mode to experiment with once you've done the main game. Lotus 2 Rex flies on the Mega Drive and Genesis. The animations are impressive, colour work is solid and the scrolling is very smooth, though there is some slowdown here and there. Music is okay, but not a patch on the Amiga version. Gameplay though has made its way over completely intact. Things are nice and snappy, but there's also a really nice sense of weight to your chosen vehicle that gives the handling in Lotus some depth, and perhaps even a Moorish quality. Lotus 2 Rex easily earns ARC's number 5 spot in stock form. Do try it emulated and overclocked though. 60 frames per second is a blast. F1 or Formula 1 in the USA is a ridiculously forward-looking racer. Thanks to clever gameplay design, controls feel almost analog. Fine movements on straights are tight. Cornering is almost sticky in a way that lets you set and forget the angle of approach. There's a context-sensitive quality to cornering that allows the D-pad to feel more natural and avoid the tap 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 of almost every other racing game designed for digital controls. Course memorization is a breeze thanks to the 3D elements, with unique landmarks that make learning each track really easy. The impressive and fast 3D engine is seriously gorgeous, and frame rates are very smooth on the Mega Drive, particularly in the turbo mode. No other stock 3D racer on the system can touch it in fact, except maybe Newman Haas IndyCar featuring Nigel Mansell. F1 is very approachable and each difficulty setting does what it says on the tin. F1 is a port of Vroom on the Amiga and Atari ST, but sadly its Euro origins seem to have resigned it to obscurity. Make no mistake, it is the superior F1 Mega Drive game. Nostalgia goggles off, it is indeed better than any Super Monaco game on the Mega Drive and Genesis.
Let the carnage begin! Tarquin hits the warp! Shred is about to blow!
A game most tend to associate with the Super Nintendo, this port of Rock'n'Roll Racing is a must-play too. The usual colour cuts, reworked music and sound that Mega Drive ports received back then are in full force here. But the most important thing, the gameplay is utterly intact. The amount of control you have over your car is incredible, and drifting around corners feels oh so right. You can literally gauge the angle of approach by the animation frames. The core game is super addictive. Pick your character, each has their own unique stats, buy a car and race to earn money for upgrades and new vehicles. Make your way through each of the planets on Rookie, Warrior and Veteran difficulties. The sense of progression is nigh on perfect and there's always an upgrade to nab just around the corner. Pick up cash boosts on the track during a race to get them faster. On its own, Rock'n'Roll Racing earns this number 3 spot easily, but we are living in an age of incredible fan mods, and the Rock'n'Roll Racing Hack V16 plus music improvement exists too. It contains so many new elements that it's hard to know where to begin, but new tracks, planets, music, upgrades, graphics and colours make it a brilliant way to discover or rediscover the game.
Viper jams into burst. Darkwing is about to blow. Ouch!
Road Rash is a classic, but even better is Road Rash 2. There's not much in it, but the refinements do make for a better game. There are more bikes, weapons, a better variety in the scenery, and an awesome split-screen multiplayer mode. The only downgrade seen here is the music, but that's mostly a subjective thing. The gameplay loop of the first Road Rash game is bolstered here. Earn money for better bikes and progress through the 5 difficulty levels, in which each of the 5 tracks gets longer and more challenging. See, Road Rash 2, after all these years, still invokes a serious case of the palm sweats. Between dodging traffic, road obstacles, racer tussles, the cops and being launched into the air, it's all guaranteed to make you clench. Don't beat up on your fellow racers too early. Get some distance between yourself and your rivals before indulging in the combat. Getting too carried away at the beginning of a race will make riders more combative whilst you try to gain the lead. Frame rates don't matter too much in the Road Rash Mega Drive games, but if you're not precious and don't balk at the thought, a really great way to experience the Road Rash trilogy is to use an emulator like Genesis Plus GX and overclock it to hell. Either way, Road Rash 2 is timeless, highly revered for a reason. Outrun 2019 didn't start out as an Outrun game. It began as the Mega CD racer Cyber Road before shifting platforms to the Mega Drive and Genesis as Junkers High, which then became Outrun 2019. Its darker cyberpunk vibes stand in stark contrast to its misleading name. It is, however, a better game than the thoroughly average port of Outrun on the Mega Drive. For starters, it offers twice the amount of content, with a total of 30 branching routes split across 4 progressively harder stages. The controls of your solitary vehicle are tight, with options for automatic transmission and manual transmission, alongside a boost mechanic that self-charges and activates automatically. The key to a good run and the depth in the gameplay comes from managing the auto boost. Lifting off the accelerator, braking or downshifting will stop a boost dead in its tracks. There's nothing worse than forgetting about the boost on a series of particularly nasty corners. A consistent frame rate, impressive raster work, those overhead roads are wizardry, nice sprites and gorgeous backgrounds make Outrun 2019 stand out on the Mega Drive and Genesis. You can clear the game in about 30 minutes, but with the numerous routes and 4 difficulty levels, the underappreciated Outrun 2019 is pure class. It is incredibly polished and has much to offer. Before we get to the poll results, I just want to thank you for watching and also perhaps get you to consider liking and subscribing. A very small percentage of you out there right now are actually subscribed. I hope you find these videos of high quality and a little out of the norm. So if you like what you see here, please consider subscribing since it lets me know that I'm on the right track. Okay, time for the poll results. During the last week, I ran a poll here on YouTube and also asked those of you on X, the Retro Game Talk forums, and in the Time Extend Discord to vote for your top Mega Drive and Genesis races. And here are the results. Totally fair, mostly unsurprising but fair. Well, except for one game, Mega Drive Turbo Outrun. If it's purely nostalgia, then I get it, but I'm telling you that you are going to see this horribly coded slideshow on this channel very, very soon. The next video is the 5 worst races on the Mega Drive and Genesis after all. I knew that you lot would prop up the games that I didn't, and I'm glad of that. Virtua Racing, Outrun, and Super Hang-On were never going to appear on the ARC Top 5. They're great games, but are compromised to the point that they're all better off played elsewhere, because much better versions of them exist. If you own a game on the Mega Drive and Genesis, then maybe. However, I don't suspect that is the case with most anyone these days. Virtua Racing is still fun, but in pure gameplay terms is eclipsed by many other races on the system. Outrun only really shines once you get to the arcade colors hack and overclock it a bit to eliminate the slowdown it really shouldn't have possessed. Super Hang-On is decent, but it just lacks speed. The regular controls are fairly slow already, but the start of the original mode is unbearably laggy and a chore to play. For me, anyway. Props to any of you who clocked that mode. I've never been able to touch it longer than a race or two. Regardless, it's nice to see Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco Grand Prix 2 up there, and I like the love you also gave Lotus 2 Rex. And in particular, it's nice to see the original Micro Machines. That one would have made my own top 10. I always found it played better than any version of Micro Machines 2, which I found too fast for the limited resolution, fiendish track design, and scale for my liking. I'm not a multiplayer guy either, so it's never appealed in that regard. Games that received no votes at all are as follows, and I think you'll find it pretty fair. Micro Machines Military deserved a few votes at least though, and isn't a bad game at all. I think that one comes down to it being a later release, and most just aren't too familiar with it. Race Drive-In and Quad Challenge are both also deservedly down the bottom there too. Thanks to everyone who voted. It was illuminating seeing your picks. So until next time, take care out there, and I'll see you in the second part of this video, the top 5 worst races on the Mega Drive and Genesis.